So it's Friday night, you get back home from work, you're quite tired, and since there's isolation rules everywhere, you decide to stay home, order some nice food in, and maybe just watch a movie or something on Netflix. So one of the coolest things today is the easiness with which you can do things. You need to get somewhere, tap, and the Uber is downstairs. You want to eat something, well, you go to Deliveroo, and in a second, you have someone coming downstairs with the food. You want to watch something, open the laptop, Netflix is there, and you can watch something. One of the cool things behind these companies is not only the technology that sits at the back of it, but also the behavioral science principles that are being employed. They reduce the amount of choices, they reduce the clutter, and they simplify things for us enough that everything feels very, very simple and easy for us to access. And they're very smart about it because this is one of the reasons why we always tend to go back and reutilize the service again and again and again and become addicted to it. One of the behavioral principles that is being utilized by these companies is social proof, and that's what we're going to cover today. So it's Friday night, you get back home from work, you're quite tired, and since there's isolation rules everywhere, you decide to stay home, order some nice food in, and maybe just watch a movie or something on Netflix. So you pick up your phone, you open the Deliveroo app and look at a few restaurants in your area. You already see a few restaurants with very good ratings, and you decide to opt for a pizza tonight. After you think about what movies you could watch, so you pick up your laptop, open it, and Netflix already provides you with a few suggestions. And what you can see is that you have quite a few decent recommendations based on things you usually like. As I've mentioned before, as humans, we need to make thousands of decisions every single day, and we simply do not have the time or the mental capacity to make all these decisions and analyze everything. So a lot of times we'll need to make quite quick decisions. What these quick decisions are called within psychology are heuristics, which simply means that you have almost some predetermined choices in your brain which makes you behave or make a very quick decision on the spot without having to think about it. It's almost unconscious. So social proof is one of these heuristics. Thinking about social proof, what it means is that we look at other people's decisions and behaviors in order to validate our own behavior. So before we decide what to purchase, what to look at, what to order for food, we might check what our friends have purchased, we might check what ratings the movie has, we might check the ratings of the restaurants on the app to see what other people think about the food from the restaurant that we ordered food from. Thinking about a company like Netflix, what they realize is that they can leverage these behavioral principles in order to increase their market share and make their products much, much more addictive. What they do is they utilize a lot of customer data and machine learning algorithms in order to tailor the experience for each individual person. But the interesting part about this bespoke experience is that at the same time, it also leverages social proof by showing you top 10 that are being watched in the UK today. So while you are seeing more of the content that you enjoy, you're also seeing a lot of the content that other people enjoy, which means that you're more likely to click on it and watch more episodes. In fact, 80% of all the content watched on Netflix is based on their recommendations. Another very cool thing that Netflix employs is a percentage of the match with a specific series that you're about to watch, which is based both on your personal preferences and the preferences of other people in your demographic. Lastly, one of the things I've mentioned before is that Netflix is trying its best to make your experience as easy and effortless as possible. And one of the principles that they employ and the way they make the recommendations is once you finish watching something, they would say, if you like this, you probably like that. And this is something very, very common that it's employed by a lot of different companies. And if it sounds familiar, is because probably every time you went on Amazon and bought a specific product, you will see users that like this also like that. And this is a very good way for them to upsell, or on Netflix's case, to keep you more on the platform so they increase their revenue stream. And now, after speaking about these subconscious behaviors that we naturally do without thinking about it too much, you might ask yourself, what exactly can you do if you want to shift one of these behaviors? What if you spend hours and hours every single day on Netflix and 9gag and you would like to spend less time? Well, the best way to shift your behavior is to change the environment around you. And what I mean by this is by creating barriers or things that make it a tiny bit harder for you to access Netflix, to go on 9gag, And there's a few different things that you can do in this specific scenario. So some of the things that come to mind for me personally thinking about Netflix, for example, would be, first of all, deleting the credentials in the browser. So every time you need to log in, you need to rewrite them. It wouldn't be pleasant, but already the fact that you have to take that extra step will make you a tiny bit less likely to log into Netflix. Or setting an alarm, for example, so it can remind you after a specific amount of time that you should be logging out or do something else. Lastly, if you're the type of person that you just kind of sit in bed at night and start watching it just before you go to sleep, and you realize that you've done that until 3-4 a.m. in the morning, which I'm a culprit of that, one of the good things that you could do is, especially if you're utilizing a laptop or an iPad, is to put your charger away and make sure that before bed you don't have a lot of charge. And they sound like very silly things, but the fact that you are utilizing all these things in combination, overall in time, they will reduce the tendency for you to spend as much time on the platform or log in as often. In conclusion, we make thousands of decisions every single day. Most of these decisions are based on heuristics, which helps us make much quicker and more effortless type of decisions. One of these heuristics is social proof, which means that we tend to look at other people's behaviors in order to reinforce our own or in order to validate what we're about to do. Lastly, many companies utilize these behavioral principles in order to make their products and services much more appealing and easy to access to us, which means that we're going to interact more with them and spend more of our time and therefore more money on their products and services. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, click a thumbs up. If you love this video, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.